Guys, I have some big news to share with you in the world of chess in Portugal. A very good friend of mine, international master Bruno Martins, has made his very first Grandmaster Norm. Last month, in February of 2026, there was an international open held in Graz, Austria, from the 14th to 20th of February, and he has made his very first Grandmaster Norm there. Now, if you don't know, in order to achieve the Grandmaster title, you need three Grandmaster norms, which are basically just three tournaments where you get a certain performance, and you need to cross 2,500 rating points. So you can see this as him making progress, like one third of the progress in order to become a GM. Now, this is really important for us in Portugal because, uh, Portugal is a very average country in terms of chess. Like we've only ever had four grandmasters in all of our history, and we're when we play in the Olympiads and such, we are basically ranked like half, like in the half percentile of the world, so to speak. And yeah, in this video, I made an interview with him where we talked about his games like in depth, and also like some stories and whatnot, some funny moments, and what he was thinking during the game, and basically how he did this because it's really incredible. So I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. It's going to be really long, so I cut it down into two parts, and I'll see you guys there.
Okay, guys, so I'm here joined by international master Bruno Martins from Portugal as well. We are very good friends. We go way back. We've played like all the nationals of under, all the years, like under 18, under 16, and so on. We have played a bunch of tournaments together, and yeah, he was just in Graz, in the Graz Chess Festival 2026. And as you know by now, he has made a GM norm, which is really, really impressive, especially for Portugal. Like, as you can see there in the text, like we don't have many GM norms, like they're not made very frequently. And so this is a really special tournament for us. So I will let you speak now. Why don't you start by telling us a bit about the tournament, the behind the scenes.
Yeah, it was a great experience for me. It went a lot better than I could ever imagine. It exceeded my expectations for sure, for a mile. First, I'd like to give a shout out to the other Portuguese who were there, despite not having stayed in the same apartment, in the same place as them. I was relatively close, like 20 minutes on foot, so I spent uh, most of the time with them. We usually analyzed our games, we ate together, we played games, bug house, chess, etc.
Sorry, who was there with you?
Estevão Gomes, Miguel Moraes, Camila Avelino, Lourenço Silva, and Pedro Gil, who also made an incredible tournament and achieved his second IM norm and was playing really, really, really well. In fact, in general, the Portuguese were all playing really well and could have made a lot more points. The games were really good. Um, and as I was saying, we played a lot of games, we analyzed our games, and it was always a lot of fun and a joyful and great environment, from which I have to thank them because it made my tournament even more special and memorable. So there were some great days.
Yeah, yeah. Also, as you mentioned, Pedro Gil, which is also like a good friend of ours. Like, okay, the circle, like in chess, the amount of people that there are is very small, especially like in Portugal. So we all know each other basically, and we're all sort of friends. Like a lot of people are friends with each other. And he also made like an incredible tournament, as you said. He made his second IM norm, and he's picking up the pace to get to IM. I mean, he's like maybe 30 or 40 points away, and only one norm away. His first norm was just made a couple of months ago as well. And it's funny, like last year, me and you, like we were both trying to chase the IM title, like the last norm, and we both made it around like August. No, actually, in the same, no, almost in the same tournament. Like yeah, around like the summer. And now you already made your first GM norm. It's really crazy. And you gain like 50 points, right, in this tournament. So that's
Yeah,
your all-time high so far.
yeah, it was really unexpected. Like people even talk to me about you've made IM, now next step is GM, try to make GM norms, and I always say I always calm them down and say, like, first I have to try to achieve to improve, to achieve higher levels, and then think about GM norms. So it was really unexpected. I only thought about it in the last rounds when I had the theoretical chance, but my objective to the tournament was just to play good games and gain some rating, try to get to 2400 again. So yeah, it really went very well. And yeah, that's it basically. And about Pedro Gil, he was also playing very well. And if he keeps playing like this, he will achieve IM for sure in the next months, probably.
Yeah. Okay, so now we can start looking at the games. We'll go through each one of them, and maybe you can tell us like some background around the games, like some stories. You know, if the players were doing anything funny or what you were thinking during the game. So yeah, take it away.
Yeah, so the first game, we couldn't really prepare or know our opponents because the pairings were just made out like, I don't know, 10 minutes before the round. And there was actually something funny, which was the pairing was done. Everyone was already seated, and then the arbiters told us that there were some, I don't even understood it very well, but I think they told us there were some players who've arrived or who were not paired that should be paired, something like that. And they changed the pairing. And actually, Camila, who was bi in the first pairing, then she was playing because they changed the pairing at the last minute. But I played against the same opponent who I was paired before. I didn't know what he played, but actually I asked Lorenzo because he knew him because he plays in Portugal in a Portuguese team sometimes, I think, and he told me he probably plays some Sicilian. So yeah, I just went to the game and play my usual stuff because yeah, I couldn't prepare, so I played the open Sicilian. In the first rounds, usually my strategy is to try to play something sharp, to try to create winning chances as soon as possible and messy games, and try to take it from there. So I played knight d5, which is the sharpest line against Sveshnikov, which was popularized in the match between Carson and Caruana in 2018. I know a bit, but not much, but usually leads to very sharp positions with unbalanced pawn structure. So white is going to play more on the queen side and black on the king side. I played a4. I think c4 is still more popular, but I like this plan with a4 to try to play a5 at some point and gain some space and leave the c4 square for the knight in the future. So black played the normal stuff with bishop e7, castle, knight d7. I played this bishop d2, which is interesting, delaying castle to see what is he gonna do, if he will start to push on the king side, or if he will, I don't know, play a6 or develop the knight or the bishop. Just awaiting a useful move to try to play a5 and grab space as soon as possible. He played knight d7, which I think is normal. I played a5, a6, knight a3, and f5. I think he didn't play the more precise order, but I'm not sure. I have to check it. But I played knight c4, and I already thought I was very comfortable because he can't play knight f6 now because I can put my knight on b6, and it's a bit uncomfortable for him. And I'm playing bishop b4 next and putting pressure on the d6 pawn. So perhaps he didn't play in the most precise way. I'm not sure.
Yeah, because the
But he played.
tabia that was like sort of created in the World Championship that you were referring to, by transposition goes like e4 castles 95, and now knight b6, rook b8, f4. And the game also didn't have this move order, I don't think, but by transposition, yeah, we reached that game where Fabi had like lots of chances. I think Carson, right in this position, played this crazy g5, and Fabi had lots of chances, but of course the game ended in a draw.
Yeah, and you also had a game here recently, no? In Portuguese Championship.
I had a game here in our national championship. Yeah, f4 against Fidalgo, and I played rook a4, I believe, and he played some stuff. Bishop g5, I think, was the game. Yeah, this is also, yeah, again, this whole tabia like was created in that World Championship. I think the move order here, yeah, there might be some differences, but okay, he goes for this f4.
Because I remembered that game and I remembered that position you just showed, but I didn't remember how to get there. So I was just thinking in the game how to get there, and I was not sure he can get it in this position because
after e4 we don't have to castle, I guess.
Yeah, we don't have to castle. There is also that could be bishop f4. So I don't know, maybe not the most precise art, but he played f4. Which is always interesting, it's always difficult also for white to play because e4 is coming, f3 is coming, e3 is coming. It's a bit scary. But I thought castle was a good move because e4, bishop e4, I don't think he is in time to really play f3 because he didn't develop a lot of pieces, so he's attacking with not much, I think, and I can put my bishop on g2, and every time his knight leaves, I can play knight b6. So I thought it was not too scary, or as scary as it might look on first glance. But he played queen e8, which was an oversight by him because he missed my next move. It's actually an interesting move, queen e8.
Yeah, so what's going on? Like he's sacking the d6 pawn?
Yeah, he's sacking the d6 pawn because he has some tactical ideas with f3 and queen g6 check when I take. So for example, if I play knight takes d6, I think it's not a good move because he can do
maybe queen g6 immediately.
Yeah, maybe queen g6 immediately, but even if bishop takes d6, probably here queen g6 is stronger. And then queen g6, if I take on f8, f3, and he's going to take two pieces for the rook and keep the attack going. So even this position will be good, probably. Or maybe, black should not be worst, I think, maybe. But probably even better is queen g6 directly. So I cannot take, but I immediately saw bishop h5. And if he plays g6, then I'm very happy because the queen cannot join the attack anymore. And also he weakens the a1 h8 diagonal, so I can exploit it in the future with some bishop c3, queen d4, and this king is also going to be very weak if he keeps pushing the pawns. And I can play bishop g4, for example, and I have a very good position. But he played queen d8. He clearly, by his expression, he missed the move, but it's actually, I was checking with computer after, and computer said this is one of black's best continuations to play queen e8, bishop h5, queen d8, because it's still very dangerous to take the pawn. Because if I take the pawn, he has the same idea with f3, queen g5. And my bishop on h5 is suddenly very misplaced. So even though he completely lost two moves and he missed the idea, It was not easy for me at all. And here it was actually one of the craziest moments on the tournament because I played Queen d4 with an insane blunder idea. Uh, I thought Queen d4 is a good move, nevertheless, because it centralizes the queen, it attacks c4. But my idea was against knight f6 to play bishop c3 initially, and just, I thought, completely paralyze his pieces, like his knight can never leave, and I'm always gonna threaten checkmate, and then I threaten the e4 pawn, and so on. But of course, he can take my bishop and defend the checkmate, and I'm just a full piece down. But okay, then he played knight f6, and I saw my bishop was hanging, and he defended the mate. So I played bishop e2. Here was the perhaps one of the most important, interesting moments in the game, because bishop e2 or bishop d1, I was not sure. It was a very difficult decision for me, because on the one hand, I want to bring my a1 rook eventually to the game. On the other hand, f3 comes with a tempo if I put my bishop on e2, so I really was not sure which move to play. I decided that it was more important to keep the option to bring the rook than to avoid f3 tempo. But yeah, I'm not sure. Then he told me after the game he was considering here to play f3, which I also think it was very interesting. Pawn takes and knight h5, and it just sacks two pawns, but he gets some very big attack probably, and some very good spots for his pieces and counterplay. Knight f4 is coming, bishop f6 is coming, then the queen can join at some point, bishop h3 is coming. It's a bit scary. Probably I have to take on e4 with the pawn, then knight f4, and then try to defend the position. I am two pawns up, but it's very dangerous. I probably wouldn't be too comfortable, but okay, I would fight and try to keep the material. And make it count. But he played bishop f5, which I thought was a bad move because of a concrete reason. Here I think I played well with f3, which might not seem like a very good move, but has a very concrete idea. And is, if black doesn't play e3, okay, I'm very happy because I take on e4, then f4 pawn is hanging. I also have always ideas of knight b6, and okay, the pawns are not dangerous anymore, and my king will be safe. But e3 is the desirable move. I cannot take on f4 due to knight d5. But the concrete idea was that I can play knight b6, and now I defend my d5 pawn, I attack the rook, and I attack f4. And he completely missed. I could see by his reaction to that move, he completely missed. I could do that. He played e3 very quickly. And now I just win an exchange, because if he moves the rook, it's even worse for him. I take his f4 pawn, I take e3 pawn, and my position is very stable and very easy to play. His rook is stuck on b8, my knight is very good. It's a very easy position to play. So he sacrificed the exchange, which was in practice the correct move. Here we were approaching, the time was ticking down. We were like 20 minutes each probably. And I thought at first it would be not very difficult to simplify the position and make the advantage more tangible. But then after taking the exchange, it was not so easy. I probably should have played just simply bishop d3, try to change the light square bishop and gain some control. But then I start calculating what I played, which is also seems like a crazy move, and it seemed to me like a crazy move, but I thought it was good in concrete ways. But I missed something very important, which we will see, which is I think this would work if his pawn was on a7,
Well,
which is, but I completely missed that a7 is a free square. So in the future, it will be important because I played g4, pawn takes g3.
yeah, it's definitely crazy.
He must take and then f4. And if he takes on h2 or moves the knight, my position is very good because I take back. Then he moves the knight. I play rook g1, and I clarify things. I'm still an exchange up, and I have lots of play for my rooks, which is the problem in the initial position. I'm an exchange up, but my rooks don't have squares, don't have files, and this idea was to try to get the rooks into play. And if it defends the knight, the same will happen. My rooks will get into play somehow. I will open some file. But what I missed is that he has some very dynamic, concrete way of counterplay with bishop f6. And if I take the pawn, which I did, then this diagonal that I was telling you about will clear up. So probably instead of queen takes c3, I should have done queen b6, but I was very scared of a concrete idea, which I was not sure it was working, but it was, I think, bishop e4, and then queen c8, queen h3, and I was very scared of this idea. And I was not sure how to even stop it. But so I
Maybe you
took
should
on
have
it.
some queen d6, but it's
Yeah,
definitely scary.
he plays rook e8 or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Maybe it's not that bad. I don't know. Yeah, g4 probably just a bad move. But yeah, I took on e3. I was still like I was a bit scared, but I trusted that I had calculated it well. I saw rook e8, queen d2, and then at that moment, I realized that the diagonal was open. And in this moment, I started thinking in his time, and I saw instead of queen a7, which I think it loses the game, bishop h3 was very strong because his knight is still hanging on h5, so he can't take time to defend because then I stabilize. But bishop h3 threatens mate with queen a7 and g2 checkmate, which I completely missed.
That's a
because
beautiful mate.
because I didn't see the square on a7 at all. So yeah, it just get mated. So here I have to give some material back and try to defend my king, but it's not easy. Yeah. I thought the position was already difficult. Probably I have to play bishop f3. That's what I was thinking, and give the exchange back. But I'm not up material, and I'm probably just worse. I'm actually, in fact, down a pawn. But luckily, he gave this check first, and now king g2, and I think I stabilize, and I'm probably the game is probably winning from now on, because now the king has a lot of space, as the h3 square if needed, if the bishop comes to e4, and then I will play bishop f3 next and just stabilize the position with the extra material, and then rook a1 is start trading. So yeah, it was a bit scary, that concrete idea with bishop h3, but yeah, I was a bit lucky. Didn't found it. It didn't have much time as well, which was good,
Yeah,
which
and now
gave me hope.
he still went for this trick with knight f4.
Yeah, but I have rook a1, and I am winning a lot of material.
Because if we take, of course, there's this skewer. But rook e1.
And then I thought he would play bishop e5 to try some discovery, but I saw I could take with the rook on e4, and at worst comes to worst, I can take the bishop, and I am a rook up at this point. So he went back, but now I'm material up and my king is safe. Now suddenly his queen is completely misplaced and out of the game and cannot join the attack. So
this
I
queen
can just
to
simplify.
teleport there.
Yeah, that would be scary. Yeah, I played rook c8, I took the knight, and now I'm just a rook up, and then simplified things, and he resigned around this point.
Okay.
Well, it was a scary game. Luckily, luckily, he didn't find the best move when it mattered. But yeah, and until that point, I was happy with my play. It was just that g4 decision, missing Queen a7, which was a bit scary. But overall, yeah, I was
Definitely
not too
a
upset.
crazy game to start the tournament.
Yeah,
I've played many tournaments with you, and usually you have some of these crazy games in the first couple of rounds.
yeah,
So I'm already accustomed to this.
yeah, not good for the heart. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, it's always like these fun games, fun for me. Yeah, very interesting. Okay. So on the next round, you were playing this guy. I'm not gonna try to pronounce his name, but what was his elo?
22-15 or something like that.
Okay.
So I just followed my strategy in the first rounds of open tournaments normally, which is to try to play, especially with black, very sharp openings, sometimes even dubious,
Yeah, the
just to
French.
try to get
The
a
French is
messy game.
also very dubious indeed.
No, not particularly the French, but if we skip to move 8, a super sideline, I would say, in the French. It's just a bit dubious, but just
Okay, so this is
with
all
intention.
this is all very theoretical, of course. The main line of the advanced French, and now take f6.
Takes and f6. Yeah, the main moves are knight f5 and knight g6. Even rook c8 is played sometimes. But yeah, f6, it's a very rare line and honestly a bit of a dubious line. But again, it was intended to create a messy game, crazy game, and I didn't expect him to know it because it's very rare. So yeah, I tried it, and yeah, he played castles, which is not the most critical reaction, but okay, it's a normal move.
So what's the best move here for white?
Knight b5 is what Giri recommends, I think, in his course. And then it gets crazy with knight f5, g4, a6, and stuff like that. Yeah, it gets crazy. Probably ef6 is included at some point. I can't even remember very well. But well, Giri recommends this for white, and it finds some safe advantage. But okay, played castles now, which is not very critical because now I can take a knight g6 and his central pawns are under a bit of pressure. So he played rook e1, which defends the pawn indirectly, as taking it would be very dangerous. He would have quick counterplay, probably even direct counterplay with bishop h5 check and queen takes d5, and it would be just winning.
A knight somewhere, queen d5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so taking is not really an option. Just to mention the fun fact, instead of rook e1, it was played in like not in an eye level game, 2600 played bishop d3 here, with the idea, probably online, I don't remember, with the idea that if black takes, which was the game, queen h5 check, takes, and queen h5 check, but probably missed knight f7, and black is just much better.
Okay.
And later, I think it was a draw, but black was much better. But okay, he played rook e1. I played bishop c5, which now it makes a lot of sense. I thought to attack the f2 pawn eventually with the semi-open f file. My idea was to castle, knight f4, and yeah, try to pressure f2, and he went for this idea which I thought was not very good of taking on queen c2, attacking both the bishop and the pawn, but I saw I have queen b6, and it will get very forcing from there, and I was very happy with my calculations here, because from here I pretty much saw the move that would win the game later on, because I thought he would play bishop e3 almost for sure, because I have ideas of just playing knight d4 and open the f file, or even taking on f3 and then knight d4, a typical French sacrifice, and it's very dangerous for him. So bishop e3, d4. At first I thought he was planning to play knight c4, which I saw it loses to d e3, sacrificing the queen, but I get a lot of material. It takes the queen, ef2, I take the rook and the knight, and get a lot of material. King, then take the rook and take the knight, and I have like rook and 2 pieces, which should be a lot for the queen, and also good pieces. I will put my bishop on c6 later on. But he played bishop e3, now d4. Now he has to move the bishop, bishop g5, and now d3. And the point is that if he takes, I will win an exchange with bishop takes f2. So I thought he was forced to play queen d2. And I saw from distance that I could play bishop b4, but I was not so convinced with that, because it takes d3, I take e1, and it takes back with the rook or something. And I thought he gets compensation because he's playing knight c4, knight d6. My pieces are not very good. He has a pawn, he's a pawn up. And I thought it was compensation, probably slightly better if I play accurately for black. But I thought I had much stronger than what I calculated was knight d4. Because now I'm attacking f2 with everything, which was basically my game plan, and this variation is forced because he must take, and then bishop e3 seemed like it was the only move I considered. And if I don't do anything, if I don't have anything direct, he will be fine because he's stabilizing. His knight is coming to c4, d6. He's taking the 3-3 pawn. But what I calculated was queen takes b2, which he missed because it was visible from his reaction also. Now he cannot take as he will lose lots of material, but he will take d3. And then rook takes f2, which was...
This was very nice, yeah. Because
this
game wasn't transmitted like in the GT boards, but then when you showed this like in the Elite Chess study, yeah, this whole sequence was very nice because it was all forced from some point.
Yeah.
So what was his mistake here, back here? Like bishop e3 or what?
Yeah, it is a good question. I don't actually know. I think bishop g6, queen c2 was not very good, but yeah, for sure it cannot be lost after that. But I thought it was not necessary.
Maybe it's very difficult already, yeah.
Yeah, but maybe here he has some other move.
Is out of play.
Yeah, the knight got very badly placed. Yeah.
Maybe he needs some rook e2. There's rook f3. Yeah, it's very hard.
Difficult. It's very hard to play, I thought.
Yeah, but this whole sequence was very nice. Queen b2, rook f2. This is very nice.
Yeah, another point is that he cannot take on d4 with neither the bishop or the queen because he will get checkmated with rook g2, queen g2, and if king f1, rook f8, and it's checkmate. So yeah, he is losing a lot of material because he can't even defend the pawn on g2. If queen e4, I can even play bishop c6 or even take on e3, and it cannot recapture with any piece. as the rook on a1 is attacked. So he played bishop takes f2 first. I took on f2, and I took the material, and then the rest of the game is funny because when we were analyzing this position with my friends, we were even saying just two moves ahead, rook f8, threatening mate, rook g1, and bishop c6. We were even looking at this position, and I was joking that this is the real French bishop, no? Because yeah, normally the French bishop is
Yeah,
more like
usually
that.
this one is like here.
Yeah, it's like that sad bishop who is like trapped in a jail cell, who doesn't see the sunlight, cannot go to the yard, and here it is the hero, like the MVP.
I think
Because I'm
it's
not the
I think it's like one of the only moves that I've never played in a classical game actually, 1d6. Not even against like d4 or anything. Like I've even played like, the Beards or freaking Modern, whatever. I don't think I've ever played the French.
yeah. I wish I could recommend that. Um, but yeah, if you look at the position of a queen takes g6, I'm not even a pawn up, and like the position is completely winning, and like not very difficult to win because my bishop is just so good and so superior to the knight. But also, if the knight was in a good position, the position would still be winning because the bishop is so good on c6, and the g2 pawn is, and this king is so weak that yeah, it's basically the piece that wins the game. Just to show also, I was hoping in the middle of the game when I was calculating that the game would end instead of rook g1, knight c2. From here, I saw this variation because I thought knight c2 was the most natural move. Bishop c6, knight e3 to defend g2, and then rook f3 to like enforce attack the knight, and he cannot take due to the checkmate. And from distance, I saw rook f1 then, and I thought, no, I cannot do this. If I take the knight with the queen, queen d8 check, which of course is also winning, but from distance I didn't see it. But then I saw queen takes g2, which is a beautiful move, and just wins the game on the spot because he cannot take with any piece, as I take his queen
Very
in
nice,
every
yeah.
occasion.
Here
Yeah,
this,
I
and
was kind of
here
hoping.
this. And the end game is just
Yeah,
completely winning.
was kind of hoping the game would end like that, but it didn't allow me the privilege. So yeah, the game
So
ended just a
this,
few moves
and
after.
yeah, the end
Just
game is always
important,
really bad, right?
yeah, just important
Rook
to
f2.
notice that his pieces will be completely paralyzed, and I will just take his queen side and advance the pawn.
Okay, so he kept.
Yeah, I played queen c3. Now I'm also having some mate threats with rook h5 and so on, and now rook g5, and it's just game over as I'm threatening to take on g2, and then queen f1, and I'm also threatening rook g3 and rook takes h3 checkmate, and he cannot defend all of the threats. So I played queen c4, which defends the f1 square, but queen g3, and now. Yeah, those threats are unstoppable. So this was a very nice game. I was very happy with this game. I think I navigated the complications very well. Yeah, for one of the first times in my career, the French bishop was also a good piece.
Yeah, this was a very cool game. Okay, so for the next game, who are you playing against?
Yeah, I was playing against Stefan. Yeah, better not to say it, but an Ukrainian young player, um, uh, which was having a very good tournament so far. And it was the double round, so I didn't have any time to prepare at all. I stayed at the hotel with my friends, and I just check it in one of my friends' phone for like 5 minutes if I could find what my opponent played. So yeah, I just went to the game and played casually without preparation. And yeah, there's not really much to say about this game because yeah, it just knew the line very well, and it was, to be honest, just a very boring game. I thought this was supposed to be a slight advantage for white, but I didn't get anything. The only perhaps instructive moment I would say was in move like just go a bit ahead.
Yeah.
Um,
So just for you guys at home, this line is all like theoretical, and yeah, there have been some games in this end game. White has some slight advantage. For example, we can take, and black has the isolated pawn, but it's very very small.
Yeah, the only thing I knew about this is supposed to be very slight advantage, and Giri gives this in his course, I think. And I remember seeing some Bogdan game against Teklav, a very strong grandmaster as well, which he won the Ak with the white pieces, and he played this idea Rook D1, which is to play the end game against the c6 pawn and not against the d5 pawn. And I thought this would give me some slight pressure options, but I couldn't find an idea, and then it was just a draw. And the idea was he played bishop e6, which was a very accurate move. Because now if I play bishop e4, it just plays rook d8, and he gets a lot of counterplay, and I don't have time to take the pawn. And also my a2 pawn is hanging. For example, if I play bishop e3, he can even take bishop takes a2, even without exchanging the rooks if he wants, uh, which is funny. So he doesn't even have to give the file, and it's just a draw. Um, yeah. So yeah, and the only idea I had was because I thought during the game, if he puts the bishop on d5, I won't have any chances of advantage because I can't attack the pawn on c6. And yeah, I thought for a long time, and I decided to play bishop d2, but yeah, it isn't much, and he equalized very easily. But the idea actually was very instructive. Is bishop f1 uh, to against or first bishop e3 developing. And I thought he would play bishop d5 and then now bishop f1. And the idea is to play g3 and bishop g2, and yeah, exchange the bishops that way and kind of terminate his blockade. And then I can have some pressure against the c6 pawn or against the d5 pawn, uh, because he won't have a bishop to defend that pawn. And that would give me slight pressure. I thought for a long time about the ending when I played bishop d2 and I couldn't find anything, which was a bit unfortunate, but also I think it's a difficult idea. But yeah, then he just equalized easily. He played very well, and I didn't get anything basically. The structure is better, but he's very active. And he played very accurately now bishop d5 move. Because if he trades, it's probably also a draw, but if I can get some rook c5, b4, rook a5, then it gets very unpleasant for him. And then now I'm threatening rook takes c6. So if he plays, for example, rook c8, I can get some b4 and rook c5, and then it's some pressure, and it might be difficult for him to defend.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah,
I
never want to stay passive in these end games. Probably just the most important thing in the end games is the activity. There's so many examples where you give like a pawn, sometimes even two, just to come in with the king, for example. That is very thematic. Yeah. So he kept the bishops,
Yeah, and then it was. There was a moment where I thought he had missed something later on when he played a5. I thought he had missed bishop h7 because this
Fischer
move
move.
was, yeah, Fischer move, because unlike the Fischer game, until this point was not possible this move because g6 trapping. But now my king is closer, so I can play king g5. And then suddenly my king will capture the pawns. If rook h8, king h6, and then king g7, bishop g8, and I'm even capturing all the king side pawn, which would be funny. But yeah, he had seen it, and yeah, rook h8, bishop b4, rook e2 with rook h2, which at first glance I thought was not good when I took on h7 because I thought I could play b4, b5 very quickly and undermine this defense of the d5 bishop. But yeah, I had missed that he can do what he did, which is rook h5, g4, rook e5, and he can keep the rook just like that, which I missed the e5 square. And now it's just a draw. I play g5, he plays f6, and there is no material left. Yeah. So it was a boring game, but well, in a double round, sometimes it's not bad to have that. Okay, so this was the first round. I saw he also played the advanced French. So since my game was not transmitted, I thought, and it went so well, the second game, I thought, why not try it again? And I also, in after a double round, resting was important, so it saved me preparation since I had already prepared this line. And again, he played knight c2, which was a move I didn't even look at. So I thought it wouldn't be very good since the last move I looked at, it was slight advantage for black or equal, something like that. But okay, I played normal, took, and then knight g6 was a bit of a mistake. Knight c6 was better, and I even saw it after the game that there is a game from Carlsen on the white side from 2004 against Ackstein, I think, in this line, which was funny. But okay, then the game was very complicated. It was like back and forth. With I had the same plan as in the other game. Just try to pressure f2. And now it was a very interesting moment because at first I thought he would play knight d4 because it's the desirable move to give the knight a good square, to attack e6, attack the bishop. But then I saw previously when I played bishop b5 that now I can play rook takes f2, and I'm in fact winning, just like in the other game. A similar tactical team, because if he takes, I have queen h4, and suddenly I'm winning because king g1, bishop d4, and then bishop takes e5, and I've sacrificed the exchange but gained 2 pawns and have a huge attack against the king. In fact, it's probably gonna just be mate in a few moves. But he played bishop e3, of course, which is a better move, and only knight d4 is coming later. Then okay, the game was really messy. It was really interesting. But just a few moves ahead, when I played queen g5, g3 here in this moment, I was considering at some points to play d4 and just give the pawn for activity to bring the rook to d8 and pin the knight if he takes with the knight, and attack the queen and get some files if he takes with the queen, and then the bishop can go to the other diagonal. So I was even considering this pawn sacrifice to open, and this will be important to understand why his next move will be a big mistake. Uh, in fact, probably the reason you lost the game, because this position is also probably good for white, because you can play like knight d4, stabilize. My bishop will go to d7, and it will be a sad bishop, and then just in the future try to play bishop g2 and queen d2, rook d1, rook c1, or something like that, and then eventually f4 at some point even, and you will just have a typical edge, better position. But he played bishop takes d5, uh, which also helps me a lot because I already wanted to give this pawn basically, because now I open a lot of lines. And now the move probably he missed was the idea, of course, is if I take, it takes back and wins my bishop, and this 2 pawns up. But I play knight f4 back, and it's basically the same position without the d5 pawn, which I think it's very beneficial for me, because first I'm threatening his bishop, but I'm also threatening knight h3 check and taking on f2.
What happens if he takes this?
Yeah, if he takes that, I can take and then
There's
play
just knight
queen
c7,
f5.
yeah? No, sorry.
No, queen f5, queen f5, which was important because I threaten f2 and the knight, and next move I can save my bishop. So I would be a piece up, but so he has to retreat to the bishop, and he has to retreat with the bishop to a square that doesn't lose f2. So he has 2 options, which is bishop g2 or bishop f3. But bishop f3 was not very good. I don't even remember why, to be honest. But in the worst case, I can do something similar to the game, which is which we will see.
Yeah, the
But
rook comes into play.
I thought the idea, by the way, was for him to play h4, and I had calculated that when I played knight f4, that now I have knight h3, and then I can, if he moves the king, I take on f2 with the rook. Then later I saw he has bishop g2, which I missed actually in my calculations, but the position is still fine for black. Queen f5, and I attack the knight and defend my knight. But king h3 was what I calculated, and then queen f5 check, g4 is forced, and then queen f4. And it takes, okay, saves the bishop, with bishop takes e6, king h8, but then the point is that I'm threatening queen h2, rook h2, and bishop f1. And
Yeah.
he cannot defend against all the threats, so I will win a lot.
And then bishop f1,
Yeah.
yeah.
I will win lots of material. So yeah, then he played bishop g2, which was actually the move I was expecting, but I thought this position was just very good. I'm a pawn down, but again, this bishop is the hero. I played rook d8 and just took his bishop, and it's like a pawn down position, which doesn't even feel like a pawn down. Actually, I think probably black is just winning in practical terms. The position is already very, very difficult for white.
Yeah, it's amazing that in the game concluded like this: queen b4, queen f5. Okay, I guess he missed this double attack, but as you said, the position was already very difficult. It's funny that in both these Frenches, the bishop won the game. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very rare that this happens.
We were even joking. Yeah, this isn't the new French bishop. This is the revolution of the French.
Yeah,
Yeah,
somehow
it's
the
just
pawn on
really,
d5 disappears, and the bishop is just so strong attacking
yeah.
the king side.
king h1, yeah, and my pieces are just very good. It's like it's not even concrete. If I just play b3 knight b5, I will but just be positionally winning, and rook a1, and his bishop is very bad.
So he
And this
allows
one,
this the pawns to double like this.
yeah, but he gets a lot of quick concrete counterplay with knight g4, and I think Giri stops around here. And I'm not sure where the novelty was, but in the video said my best novelty, so it should be somewhere. But I knew this everything, and in this game actually, which was amazing, was played bishop takes d4 instead of queen takes d4, which is the best move, queen takes d4. Actually, my opponent found all the best moves, and he spent like all his time, like 1 hour and 20. He went down to 5 minutes, and he found all the best moves until move like 30 something. Because the point is, if you
Maybe
go,
he also saw it and he was trying to remember it.
yeah, but it's like for an hour and 20, it's a bit weird.
Yeah, what was
I'm
this
not
thing
sure.
with the king? This was also kind of insane. So check. Okay, the king has to go here, I guess.
Yeah, the king has to go
Now he
there
does
for
this.
some reason. Yeah,
King f2.
yeah,
Another
yeah.
check.
It's what he did is was super precise, and it was because he has to drive my king further, uh, and I will show it why when we get to the king and pawn endgame. Like just
So we
when
can never do this because I guess he takes and takes the pawn or what?
yeah, basically, I need my king to be close to the king side so that my rook can infiltrate on the e file. Uh, because if not, I can never play rook e7 or rook a6. But he played very precisely. This all sequence, like it was, I was just like super impressed. And
So
then
he repeats
yeah, now bishop d2,
and
which was not
we,
possible with the king on g1, and the bishop ending is
we go
just
to this ending.
one.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Now I
which
take. I guess he goes to
surprisingly
check.
is
Yeah, he's. I mean, he
yeah,
needs to put all the pawns on the dark square, so it's.
yeah, and the most impressive thing is now bishop f2 even wins,
Okay.
which will be the same
Yeah.
king and pawn endgame.
Mm-hmm.
But my king is closer. That's why h4 and all this maneuvering and pulling my king to the corner was so important, because if my king is closer, the king and pawn endgame is winning.
Mm-hmm.
But with the king further, it is not, because after move 35, rook takes, king takes. If my king is on g1 in this position and it's my turn, the position is 1 for white.
Well.
But this position is a draw, and it's a draw because his king can reach the queen side in time. But of course, when I saw the video, I was like, but why can't it just go to the center
Mm-hmm.
and gain opposition? So I checked it with the computer, and I followed the line up until move 46, which was the game. But by the way, just to say what black did wrong. First, it was impressive that my opponent played 35 moves with the absolute best precision.
He needed
But
to
now
come here, right?
yeah, he needed to play king e7, king f2, king d7, king e3, king c7, king d4, and now b6.
Yeah, because we can never come in this side because he just locks this up with g6, which is also fine.
Yeah,
Now there's no way to
yeah,
make progress on the king side. So king d4.
yeah. And now b6. And because he has to avoid c5, if I make a, I'm basically almost a pawn up in the king endgame. So if I make a passed pawn or create something on the queen side, I'm just winning, because then I will go to the king side.
I mean, even this is scary, right? Like king c3,
Yeah,
b4.
king c3. Yeah, that was the point.
He
If it's
waits.
my turn, I'm winning. He has
Oh
to
wow.
play king d7. Yeah, b4
I
takes
now
takes
takes and
king
king a6. Yeah.
a6.
Wow.
And if his king cannot reach a6, he's losing,
Yeah. If it's
because
somewhere
like,
else, just king b5,
yeah,
a5. Wow.
Yeah, and then c5, and it's d5 pawn is passed, and then I go to the king side and take all his pawns. Yeah, this is incredible.
Like here,
And
king b3, king a7, only move, yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Incredible. So he went to the center, of course, like very human reaction. And this,
Yeah,
yeah, this optically, this looks like a complete draw.
or even look like black is winning because
Yeah, also, yeah, because
I
the
have to
king.
choose a side.
Maybe he thought he was winning, yeah.
Yeah, he was very confused because I was still playing fast, and yeah, he was very confused at this point because yeah, it looks like winning, but actually, white's pawns are faster. Now he has to go. He has to go to f4. He has no choice. No, if he goes behind, then I will play king c3 and b4, and
Yeah,
it's the same as before.
this b4 move is very easy to miss from afar for black. Very easy.
Yeah, actually, here there is something funny. If black takes the pawn, c5 is a draw, and a5 is winning.
Oh wow.
But yeah, for later details, you should check Felix Felix video, because it's really instructive and it explains it very well. Uh, but yeah, in the game you played the best, which was also my question when I looked at this endgame, which was what if it just doesn't lose time on the queen side and just go make a queen. Um, and yeah, my preparation ended on move 46, which is insane because sometimes it ends on move 3 or 4.
Jesus.
Now intended here. I remember king c4 was +4, like, but surprisingly only winning move, I think, king c4, which is also kind of a weird move because I can take g5 and a5. I can take both pawn.
Yeah.
But yeah, and my preparation ended here. I have 1 hour and 15 against, like, I don't know, 10 minutes or something. And it was very upsetting that I couldn't win this game. Because yeah, I know queen endgames are always very complex. But yeah, it was a bit upsetting with such unique preparation, let's say, something that probably will never happen. And knowing the position is won with so much time on the clock, I couldn't win. But yeah, it is what it is.
So after queen
It,
e1, yeah,
it
queen
defended really
b6
well.
was this big mistake apparently, right?
Yeah, and especially because I took so little time on this move. I only spent like 10 or 15 minutes. Um, Having so much time, I should have spent more, but just thought it was winning. I was convinced it was winning, but then he defended really, really well. But yeah, I should have played. Then I checked it. D6, King B5 was winning also.
Yeah.
Just basically, the idea is to give. I don't even have to defend the pawns. I just have to advance D pawn and then hide the king, like on G8 or something. Yeah, just go with the king.
Yeah, in
And then
these queen and pawn endgames, usually the best pawn that's more far advanced really makes the difference. But it's yeah, I mean yeah, these endgames are always really. I mean they're very famous, right? To be like the most complicated endgames, to be the queen endgames.
yeah,
So then there was just one more moment where the computer started screaming again after Cebu. So black was just giving a bunch of checks. And now apparently this queen g4 is and king c7 are blunders apparently.
yeah. I checked it with the computer after here. I thought already it was not winning, but also the only move I really considered was queen takes g4. I saw the computer gave like queen e4, but I don't really understand it very much. I thought the critical move was queen takes g4. Again, this endings are difficult, are more based on calculation than anything else. But here d6 apparently was winning, which I considered for a long time. But I thought queen c8 check, king b6, queen d8 check, to avoid queen c6 check, exchanging queens. Now king c5 I have to do to avoid perpetual, and then g4, and I thought he was in time to save the game with this g pawn. So if I play d7, he plays g3, and if I get the queen to c8 or something, he also has time, and you will have a lot of checks. What I missed, and I think it's difficult to see in advance also, is instead of d7, I can play queen d6, which is very precise move, because it doesn't have good checks. My king will eventually hide, and queen c6 check is always winning, and then I can promote my pawn by force. Apparently, computer was giving like 2.5, which I assume is winning. But with this, I would not be too upset. I would be more upset about queen v6
Yeah, this
before.
is very precise. Yeah.
Queen b6 before was a mistake, mainly a time management mistake. But yeah, well, it was a bit upsetting, the game. I was a bit sad, but it was also like an unique moment that I could I could play so much preparation in one game. It was like something I will remember for a long time. Like 46 moves into